How's it going, everybody? It's Pilot Family. We're back with another FPL live stream, and we're here for the Game Week 10 preview here on Twitch. And if you haven't done so, and you're watching this over on YouTube, which will be posted tomorrow as we normally do, come check us live over on Twitch. It's a fun time. We have a lot of people in the chat that'll help you out as well. So make sure to come check us out for that. But yeah, we're going to talk about how Game Week 9 went. It looked to be quite dire, and it was in terms of an actual football point of view, because being a United fan, getting absolutely destroyed 5-0 on your home ground by the biggest rival that you could possibly have in Liverpool. Yeah, it's not great. It's not great. But captaining Mo Salah kind of eased the pain a little bit, because in fantasy terms, he got a boatload of points. So my team actually got a green arrow, which I didn't think was going to happen, which is quite interesting. But yeah, we'll go over that. We'll go over our predictions and differential picks as we do every week, see how we did. And we'll also take a look at some potential transfers, because I have 2 free transfers this week, and I don't know what to do with them. I'm still waiting on potential Lukaku news. Rafinha's flagged. He went off injured, looked pretty bad, and Buemo came off with a somewhat of a knock, so we'll have to see kind of how that pans out as well. And we'll take a look at the watch list and update that as well. But before we do that, let's talk about Fantasy Football Scout. So, if you haven't done so already, make sure to check out Fantasy Football Scout in the About section if you're here on Twitch, or in the description down below on YouTube. You can get access to the exclusive members area, which, as you can see, has a boatload of stuff over my shoulder here. Plenty of different things in there. The main thing that I like to use is the Opta-driven stats tables, which are fully customizable, and I have them all shared over in Fantasy Football Scout's members area, so make sure to check that out as well. But there's heat maps, there's player comparison tools, there's the season ticker. There's so many different tools that's going to help elevate your FPL game, so make sure to go check it out. Now, like I said, links in the description or in the About section, depending on what platform you're on. But without further ado, let's see how the team did. Righty, so we did quite well. We got 97 points, and that mainly comes down to the fact that Mo Salah and Trent got us 58 of those. So yeah, going into Sunday, we didn't have Mbuemo's points, we didn't have Raya's points, and we were hoping that, potentially on the Saturday, that after Smith Rowe got 13 points on the Friday, that maybe he wouldn't play and then we'd get him in. That didn't pan out. Diaz and Cancelo conceded their clean sheet because of an Ederson mistake. Chilwell and James, though, if it was one of those that was potentially going to be rotated, they basically matched Smith Rowe, so I'm pretty happy on that front. And Buemo coming off of the knocks a bit, disappointing, but regardless, can't really complain with the game week. Yes, it's going to happen that I'm going to have points on the bench and whatnot. We originally played Lukaku, and Buemo was our first sub, for those that are wondering. So yeah. In goal, Raya 2 points versus Ramsdale. I thought that, maybe Raya would get more save points than Ramsdale. I think he ultimately ended up with a similar number of saves as Ramsdale, but conceded 1 extra goal. I thought both teams would probably concede once. The goals that Leicester scored, one was a counter-attack goal. I expected one of those in the game, but the Tielemans goal, got something in my eye, so apologize for that. The Tielemans goal, Brentford were absolutely all over Leicester. And then all of a sudden, Tielemans, bang, from 30 plus yards out into the top corner, running onto the ball. It was absolutely insane. Yeah, I can't get this thing out of my right eye, but hopefully it'll go away. Good evening, Mono. Glad that you could join us. So yeah, 1 point in between it. You're going to get that with the rotating goalkeepers. It is what it is. I thought Brentford played well otherwise. City defense, we'll talk about that. Diaz and Cancelo. Ederson, don't know what he's doing. The attacker's not going anywhere. I think it was Mwepu for Brighton. He's not going anywhere. He's basically out of touch already. Why do you have to even come and think about touching him? Just stand on your post. He can't score from that angle unless it goes between your legs, and I think you're a good enough goalkeeper to stop that. So losing the clean sheet definitely was quite disappointing. Chilwell and Reece James, on the other hand, scoring a goal, getting some bonus points. That was fantastic. Really enjoyed that quite a lot. And seeing them both start versus Norwich was very, very satisfying to see. even with Smith Rowe on the bench. But they both scored a goal, so that was great. And basically, if I get one more clean sheet out of Chilwell, 2 more clean sheets out of James, or starts at least, for potential clean sheets over these next couple of fixtures, that would be ideal, I would think. Ederson Clown, yeah, I mean, he ruined my double clean sheet, which, it is what it is. Then Trent Alexander-Arnold getting a clean sheet and assist as well as a bonus point. That was not good to see as a United fan, but good to see fantasy-wise that Trent is back to his best. Thought that United would ruin that clean sheet with Ronaldo scoring goal in the second half, but marginally offside due to him leaning just a bit too far for that one. Rafinha just the 1 point going off injured 50-something minutes in. And Bomo coming off around the 50-something minute mark as well, also injured. Bit unlucky there. And then Mo Salah. I mean, if you went with the pick to captain Havertz and bring him in, it was probably a differential enough just bringing in Havertz, so I don't think you needed to go there personally. But if you did, you probably felt unlucky. Chelsea scored 5 goals in that game, and Havertz wasn't involved in any of them. Salah also punished anyone that did go. Havertz with 3 goals and an assist, a hat-trick at Old Trafford. The first time that's ever happened in the Premier League era to Manchester United, which is it's a statement. But Salah's form definitely showed that he could do that to United, because United was the second worst defense over the last 4 game weeks. So I just kind of stuck it on Salah. I was thinking, yeah, he'll probably get 1 versus United, and hopefully United win the game 2-1 or something like that. It was a lot worse than that. But fantasy-wise, glad we made that decision. And then up front, Jimenez got himself an assist. Bit of a jammy assist, all things considered. Wolves, not really too convinced on their attack at the moment. But we'll keep him in there for now. St. Maximin, he was kind of just hey, look, Newcastle have new owners. Maybe they kind of rejuvenate themselves. Excuse me. And Wilson got the goal in the first game. To open it up for Spurs. And then they got an own goal later on. And then in the Palace game, Wilson got the goal again. So, unfortunately, we picked the wrong forward, but I don't think we could have stretched to Wilson anyway unless we made some sacrifice elsewhere. Lukaku, we knew was injured, so not really anything to be surprised at there. Smith Rowe, goal and assist. Bit fortunate, I think, on both those fronts, to be honest. The goal was deflected a bit. Wasn't the best to finish, but he did score. And then the corner as well could have probably been dealt with a little bit better on Aston Villa's side. So it is what it is. Oh, excuse me. Apologies. But yeah, Chilwell and James were probably the highlight initially to start off at the beginning of Saturday. Then with the City clean sheet getting wiped out, that wasn't ideal. Seeing the Mason Mount points, the Foden points, I was like, we're kind of falling behind here. We need something special on Sunday. And we got that with Salah captain. So that was ideal. Not ideal, like I said, being a Man United fan, but it is what it is. Got 95 -4, so 91 this week. Happy considering double clean sheet, double City defense. Vardy injured, and don't get me started on Armstrong. Watched him live come on with 1 minute left as the last sub, keeping Liverpool on your bench. Yeah, that is a bit frustrating. Got 100 points last week. I captained Salah and had Mount. Yep, you probably would have got a big score if you had those. There's probably someone out there who's probably got Trent, Chilwell, James on the wild card. Salah, maybe they got Mount and swapped Lukaku out. And then they got, I'm trying to think of a forward that did well this week. You probably maybe had Antonio still as well. You could have done some serious damage this week. So, let's actually, who got what was the highest score? 165, here we go. Triple captain Salah. But they also took a -40. But yeah, something like this would have definitely got a ridiculous score. Mind you, they could have had even more. They had Martinez on the bench. They had Broha on the bench. Yeah, they could have got even more, to be honest. But this is clearly a team that's just trying to pick the best team of the week every week. But Salah triple captain was definitely a very interesting usage of chip, to be honest. But yeah, definitely happy with the game week. It means the overall rank increase up to 35k. We're 5k off our highest position this season, around the 30k mark, which we can check out in game week history. So if you see here, start off 55k, 52k, up to 70, up to 88, down to 30k with a really good, nice green arrow. Then went back up to around the same mark in Game Week 4, and then have come right back down to where we were in Game Week 5. So the fact that we're staying inside the top 100k for the whole season thus far is great. Really, really like that. Yeah, we're doing well. Doing well. We just got to keep it up and make good decisions. So last week I didn't feel like I needed a serious amount of reconstruction of the team. I mean, I was talking about Vardy, I was talking about this, I was talking about that. And I just thought to myself, last season when I overthought things or thought this, I started taking a whole pile of crazy hits. And I was like, I'll just bench Lukaku, I'll have Mbeumo first sub, I'll have Smith Rowe second sub, and just see how it goes. And it panned out. And we just captained the guy in form, in Salah. Yes, it was against my team, but you have to kind of separate that from fantasy. Fantasy is all about getting you the most points. Salah was the only realistic player that I can say. He's going up against the second worst defense over the last 4 game weeks, whether that's Man United in my team or not. And he could potentially get something. And if United defended like they did versus Atalanta, they would get battered. And that's exactly what happened. So, safety was 90 points this week. Yeah, it was probably quite high, depending on where you were, to be honest. Any word on Ollie out or Conte? What do you think will happen? Me personally, this will be my stance on it. I'll kind of just make it kind of short and simple. I think that basically Solskjaer was initially intended to be the manager that comes in, bring back good vibes to the club from Mourinho, who made the place very toxic. Give the club a little bit of a lift. And be there till the end of the season. Now, had they stuck with that, we would have potentially had a different manager at the end of his, the season when he came in and took over Mourinho. And I think that's what would have been probably the right decision in the grand scheme of things. Since the expectations have gone up and up and up with the club, and now that there's no excuse with the squad, there is much more pressure, and I think probably he's going to get the axe either before the next game or soon, basically. I can't see how he gets, literally, I don't care what manager you are in football. If you lose 5-0 at home to your biggest rivals and they didn't get out of second gear, you'd be very hard-pressed to find a club that wouldn't say, yeah, this manager's gone, basically. So, yeah, it'd be a bit interesting to see kind of how it pans out. As to which manager I would potentially bring in, I think personally, you need to go with a whole new coaching staff. So I think that means no more Phelan, no more McKenna, no more Carrick. I just felt that maybe there was too much inexperience there, potentially. I'm not sure what to pin it down to, but I think if a new manager does come in, I want them to have their own say on the signings. I want them to have their own say on who they're having as their backroom staff, and I want them to be a proper coach. It seems like with Solskjaer, McKenna, and Phelan and Carrick, Solskjaer didn't do the training sessions. It was mainly McCarrick and McKenna leading them, and Solskjaer and Phelan were more for man management, as it were. Whereas if Conte comes in, Zidane, Ten Hag, whoever it might be, they're going to be the guy on the training pitch saying, hold on, stop right there. No, this is what we do here in this situation. Boom, boom, boom. So, and you can't always believe what you read, but if they're going to make a decision, just make it quick and see how it goes. But we'll see how it goes. Can't really speculate too much. I think United having a blank week off probably favors them a little bit for that. Yeah, it definitely could be one that we could see potential early news tomorrow. I don't really know, but in terms of him being a stopgap, I think he was only meant to be the guy who set up the guy for success. And there's nothing wrong with that. We will see, to me, Solskjaer, brilliant legend, as a manager, has his flaws, definitely, but came in at the time when the club was at probably its lowest since Sir Alex Ferguson. At that time, he came in, did the job, gave good vibes to the club, allowed to Manchester United to get back on its feet. Has brought in some very good signings, although hasn't played some of them, in Sancho and Van de Beek as an example, or Telles to an extent. But has brought in, has had some players come in, like Maguire, who I think is still a good centre back, although he had an awful game on Sunday. Wan-Bissaka, Cavani, Ronaldo's back as well. There have been some great signings. The only real thing you can say with the United's team that's probably lacking is in the central midfield type of position. That's more on the defensive side of things. So yeah, we'll have to wait and see. But whoever the manager is, gonna back them. Do I have a preference? I think it would be interesting because the managers that are being rumored is like Ten Hag, Zidane, and Conte. All three of them have very distinct, different playing styles. Zidane's a 4-3-3. Ten Hag, from what I know, likes a diamond and likes a fluid system where players are constantly rotating their positions. Very Dutch system. And then you have Conte, who's a 3-5-2/3-4-3, depending on what he needs. And that is another completely different system that relies on wingbacks. So it'd be very interesting to see how things go. But enough on that. Let's talk back about FPL. Hearing Pool fans sing Ollie's at the wheel was funny. I mean, they're taking the mick, aren't they? They didn't have to get out of second gear, really. I got Havertz at 6:28 p.m. for a -4. Also, when I saw 7-0 was jumping around until I saw the scoring. Yeah, that would have been bad. Yeah, it was 7-0. It wasn't even 5. I'm just thinking 5-0. It was actually 7-0. Norwich got an absolute drumming, didn't they? They got absolutely wrecked. It wasn't great for them. But yeah. Let's take a look at our predictions that we had for game week 9. So this is our scores for the week. So, where is that? Okay, there we go. So, let's see how I did prediction-wise. Now, over the last few weeks, I haven't been doing well. And that had normally been correlating with the fact that my FPL team didn't do too well. But last week was a bit of an exception. We only got 3 points. And the way you get points in our scoring system is, if you get the exact score right, you get 3 points. If you get the result right, you get 1 point. And if you get anything else wrong, it's no points. So, Arsenal versus Aston Villa. That was a 3-1 in favor of Arsenal, with Martinez getting 6 saves and a penalty save. Ramsdale just 3 saves, which I believe Raya got more saves. So yeah. Definitely got that one wrong. I think Aston Villa weren't very good at all, but we got that prediction wrong. Chelsea 3-0 over Norwich. Could have gone 4 more. So we get the 1 point for that. Crystal Palace versus Newcastle. I thought Palace probably deserved a victory in the game. They just can't seem to get a win at the moment. Just a whole bunch of a whole bunch of draws, which is definitely quite interesting. Yeah, a bit unlucky for Palace. So they're gonna pick up wins. They will pick up wins. Vieira's got them playing a really nice style of football, very attacking. 4-3-3. Gallagher running the show. Edward is fantastic. Elise came in after he's been out a bit from injury. One of their new signings. He's been great as well. I think Mitchell has been fantastic as well. And I think they can only go from strength to strength. And very refreshing to see. So yeah, got that one wrong. Everton, Watford. Now, Everton looked like they were going to win, and then there was a just complete, absolute meltdown from them. And Watford ended up putting 5 past Everton, so I got that one wrong as well. Leeds versus Wolves. Now, they saved me a point on this prediction. Rodrigo with the penalty at the very last kick of the game, basically. I predicted 2-2. They ended up being a 1-1, so we got the 1 point there. Southampton versus Burnley, 2-2. A lot higher scoring than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was going to be kind of both teams not really great in attack, as it were, and try to nick a goal. But ended up being 2-2. Cornet, I think his name is, he was running the show for Burnley. And on the other side, it was Livramento that was doing the damage for Southampton. So got that one wrong as well. Man City 2-0 versus Brighton. I was hoping it'd be a clean sheet, but City ended up putting 4 past Brighton instead. Foden absolutely running it as per usual when he does start and is fit. Just the 1 goal for Brighton, but still got the 1 point there. 2-1 in favor of Leicester over Brentford. I think probably Brentford deserved at least a draw out of the game, to be honest. I don't think Leicester were very good. I think for the majority of the game, Brentford were quite dominant, creating chances. Leicester were often sitting back and not really doing too much. Tielemans with a great goal kind of stunted Brentford in the first half after they were just basically all over them, but we got that one wrong as well. And same for the West Ham versus Spurs fixture. I just thought Spurs would, use the victory versus Newcastle to kind of kick on. Oh, excuse me. Kick on their season, basically. And they just haven't. They just look very uninspiring. Any team that they go up against that has any form of organization, they don't know what to do. Very akin to Arsenal, basically. If the team is organized, Spurs just don't know what to do. Like Aston Villa, they were organized versus United. They weren't organized versus Arsenal, and they got shredded, basically, on set pieces, which is, they're usually okay on those, and in open play, so which is a bit weird. But West Ham, the goal that they scored as well, Spurs will be very disappointed with. Harry Kane marking Antonio, not really doing anything to prevent it. So yeah, a bit unfortunate there for our prediction. And then Liverpool 2-1. My head said to go with the Liverpool win. Didn't think it was going to be 5-0, but we got the 1 point there. So just the 4 points for this one, which is one more than we had last week. So we start off really well. We start off like a house on fire. 9, 11, 10, 11, and then dipped off a bit 7. Then we've had a few stinkers, 2, 3, 3, 4. So, but if the FPL team's doing well, then it's not too bad. Which is a bit weird, because if I'm predicting these games go the way that they're going and I'm getting them wrong, then it's favoring my FPL team now, it seems, which is okay, I guess. In terms of our clean sheet and differential picks, clean sheet for Chelsea. Pickford definitely didn't do anything. So, yeah, not ideal for him. How many saves did he end up having to make? Just 3, and conceded 5, which isn't ideal for Jordan Pickford and co. Reece James, clean sheet and a goal. Definitely take that one. Phil Foden, he was excellent. And Broja scored as well. So we got 4 out of 5 on the differentials. So I think we've been doing actually okay on those, which is quite nice. So yeah, that was our clean sheet and differential picks. Let's move on to this week's. Don't need that up anymore. And move over to this week's game. So it's going to be quite interesting, I think, with this week's set of fixtures, mainly due to the fact that we have the El Sacchio potentially at 1:30 or my time, which would be 5:30 UK time on Saturday between Spurs and United. And by El Sacchio, I just mean like potentially both managers could be on their way to getting sacked. Solskjaer might be sacked even before the game, which is exactly what Nuno probably doesn't want to happen, potentially. But we shall see. To start us off with, though, Brendan Rodgers was linked to Arsenal as a potential manager previously, before when Arteta was under pressure. That seems to have cooled off a bit, and Arsenal have done quite well for themselves. They play Leicester, who have come off 2 wins versus United and Brentford. You would think that Brentford would be a very, very good team at the moment. They have been performing quite well. And it could be interesting because both teams are doing decently well, Arsenal and Leicester. Arsenal will probably sit back in this one. But I think ultimately Leicester will find a way to just score. Jamie Vardy will almost certainly score in this game, in my opinion. He just seems to do that. So I think Leicester will win the game. I don't think they'll keep a clean sheet. I think Arsenal will get one. I'm going to go with a Leicester 2-1 win. Burnley versus Brentford. I think Brentford have too much for Burnley, to be honest. Doesn't matter if Burnley's at home. I just think Burnley are probably going to be one of the teams that will be either 17th or in the bottom three. It's between them. Probably Watford will end up there unless Ranieri can fix things. Norwich is almost certainly going to be there. And then I think Newcastle will be fine. I think Leeds could be in real trouble potentially if they're not careful. So they'll have to keep an eye on that. But I think as it stands probably right now, I think Leeds probably have enough once they get their players back to do some damage. I think Norwich, Watford, and Burnley will ultimately be the ones going down as it stands right now. And I think I predicted Norwich, Watford, Southampton. So we'll keep an eye on that. Any word on injuries? I do not have any words on injuries at the moment. We can check out the flags that I have, but I haven't heard anything as of yet. So as always, make sure to wait for your transfers because there are midweek games this week. There's games tomorrow and Wednesday for the Carabao Cup. Basically, all the teams that you would potentially want players from are still in that, barring, I think, Manchester United and Leicester, if I'm correct. Let me just double check that while I'm thinking of it. Carabao Cup. So out of the Premier League teams, we have Chelsea play Southampton tomorrow. Arsenal play Leeds. QPR plays Sunderland, so they're not involved. Brentford plays Stoke, so Brentford's in there. West Ham and City also play on Wednesday with Brentford and Stoke. Leicester are in it. They play Brighton. Liverpool play Preston, and Burnley play Spurs. So the only teams that aren't involved in the Carabao Cup still is Everton, Wolves, Aston Villa, Norwich, United, Watford, Newcastle, and Palace? I think. So yeah. But yeah, Chelsea, Southampton, Arsenal, Leeds, and no, just those four teams are in action tomorrow for the Carabao Cup for Premier League teams. And then Brentford's in action, West Ham, City, Leicester, Brighton, Burnley, Spurs, and Liverpool are in action on Wednesday. So we'll keep an eye on that one. And yes, United are out. United got knocked out by West Ham, but we would have been playing City. Can you imagine if United had gone through versus West Ham? United would have had a fixture list of Leicester away, Atalanta at home, Liverpool at home, Man City at home in the Carabao Cup, Spurs away, Atalanta away, Man City at home again. That would have been mental. That would have been insane. But Burnley, Brentford, I think Brentford are going to win the game, and I think they'll win it 2-0. Liverpool versus Brighton. I think Liverpool just going to have too much for Brighton. City showed that just quality passing can beat Brighton. I think Liverpool will probably win the game comfortably. I'm just going to go with the standard 2-0. City against Crystal Palace. It just seems like Palace, when they play against a really, really good team, they get beat quite easily. So I'm just going to go with City winning that one 3-0. Newcastle versus Chelsea. Now, Chelsea showed that they could beat the teams that are down the bottom quite convincingly, and I think they'll do the same to Newcastle. I can see them winning 3-0 as well. Watford versus Southampton. Now, this one could be interesting because Watford coming off 5 goals. Southampton have conceded goals to Burnley, who don't look like scoring very much at all this season, but with Cornet in there, they could change things up. Could be a bit interesting, actually. Maybe Watford kind of go for it, being that they're at home. The kind of actually disappointing thing is that Chelsea, Man City, and Liverpool are all in games against, like, Brighton's going to play good football, Crystal Palace is going to play good football, Newcastle probably won't, but Chelsea will be interesting to watch, and they're all at the same time, which has been unfortunate. And then Watford, Southampton, no one's going to really care about. But I think Southampton could probably win this one. I'm just going to go with Southampton winning 2-1. I think Broja's been doing quite well, and Livramento is kind of doing well. I just checked the odds, and Ollie is 1-6 odds to be sacked next, and Conte is 4 to 5 to be appointed. So that looks the most likely thing that's basically going to happen from the looks of it, based on the bookies. I usually retweet there's a guy in the FPL community named FPL Salah, funny enough, and he's actually a United fan, funnily enough. But he always retweets the clean sheet odds and the anytime goal scorers odds as well, which is interesting. I usually try to retweet those when they come up on my feed, which is always interesting to see, actually. For all those sorts of things, in terms of, like, you know, who's going to be, who's potentially likely to score in terms of percentage, as well. So it's interesting. Like Chelsea were like 60-something% to keep a clean sheet, which is like a mad percentage, to be honest. It's like really, really high. Moving on to Spurs versus United. I mean, it depends on who's the manager, to be honest. The way United are playing right now, the way Spurs are playing right now, I think it could probably be a 0-0. To be honest, I think that no matter who the manager is, to be honest, I think that United will probably just beat Spurs, just because of the fact that they have better players, and the United always seem to beat Spurs. So I'm just gonna go with 2-1. I'm just gonna take it as the two teams that I see. That's all I'm gonna say. Probably get Son on the break or something like that, or a Kane goal or something like that. But I think United always, historically have beaten Spurs. Leeds versus Norwich. I mean, I think Leeds should win this one. I think they should also be keeping the clean sheet. I'm going to go with Leeds to win it. We'll go just a 1-0 because they have been a bit, struggling a bit to score some goals. And Rafinha's out. That could be a bit more dangerous for them. Aston Villa versus West Ham. I think Villa are going to want to pick up their performance. But I think West Ham could be set up well to stifle Villa's attack. I think that their system doesn't necessarily favor them when trying to, beat Aston Villa. But if they're disorganized, West Ham will pick them apart. I think Antonio bullies Mings and Konza and Tuanzebe. As much as Tuanzebe is an academy product for United, I would like to see him do well on loan. I just think that Antonio is just different gravy. Scored again, so I think he could definitely do well in this one. I'm going to go with West Ham to win this one. I think Villa probably get one somehow, but I think West Ham will win 2-1. And then Wolves versus Everton. I mean, this is interesting as well because Everton could be on a slide after conceding 5. But I think both teams will score, but I think it'll ultimately end up in a draw. And I'm going to go with a 1-1. Clean sheet. I've gone with Leeds this week because they're playing Norwich. That's basically it. In goal, Meslier, because he's playing Norwich. That's basically it. And some people went with him on the wild card as a set and forget goalkeeper. Hasn't really panned out too well, but I think he should do fine this week. In midfield, I've gone with Yuri Tielemans, not exactly 5%, being a differential. We try to go less than 5% as a differential pick, but it's close enough. He's been doing well. I think Tielemans has scored 2 and 2. And he just keeps scoring wonder strikes. And I think versus Arsenal could definitely be involved. Maybe a line splitting pass to Vardy and he's in behind. Could be the downfall of Arsenal this week. So I've gone with Yuri Tielemans in midfield. Been definitely, much more attacking and getting up alongside Maddison. And almost kind of leaving Soumare kind of on his own. He definitely helps out with the build-up play with Soumare in midfield. But I think he's definitely attacking quite a lot. And then the forward line, Richarlison, I think if there's anyone who's going to be able to break Wolves down and cause havoc, I think Richarlison can definitely do that. They missed him. He came off the bench and scored as well to get their second goal versus Watford before they ultimately kind of just collapsed on themselves. But 4.2% looks to be a good differential as a forward slot. So yeah, that is my clean sheet and differential picks. I will post those over in the community. I tried to say YouTube and community at the same time. The YouTube community section, as well as over on Twitter, as we normally do. So let's take a look at the team for this week. This is what we got so far. Let me move the notepad out of the way so you can see what we have going on here. So this is kind of what we got so far. Defense is looking great. Defense is looking real great. We got Raya in goal, who I think is going to be more likely to keep a clean sheet because he's just playing strictly a worse team in Burnley. Then we have the double Chelsea defense, Reece James and Chilwell. I see no reason for them to be dropped. They play Southampton, so easily Alonso can come in alongside maybe Azpilicueta at right wing back. Should be enough to beat Southampton with their quality. I think you'll probably see some rotations to the likes of Kovacic, who's been doing well. I think you'll probably see like Sarr and Chalobah play at centre back. Chalobah was excellent again versus Norwich. And we'll have to wait on the news for Lukaku, who's currently flagged and does not have a return date at the moment. He's also gone down in price, which isn't great. He's gone down in price twice. So I brought him in at 11.7 million, and he's gone down by 0.2. So we lost value on him. But if he comes back for this week, I'm definitely excited about him. Maybe not necessarily the captaincy choice because Salah's at home, and Salah at home can do some damage, and Brighton just conceded 4 to City. I think Liverpool could be as good, if not better than City. So we'll have to wait and see on his news there. But Newcastle away looks to be a good fixture. Salah at home, captain him. Ain't even going to think twice about it. And Trent versus Brighton as well. Liverpool also play Preston, so they can rotate heavily in that one. I would expect Tsimikas to come in, Nico Williams at fullback as well. We'll maybe see the likes of Joe Gomez alongside maybe Konate again or Matip or whoever. Maybe they might want Konate actually did quite well. He was brought in to kind of bully Ronaldo, and they did that quite effectively, to be honest. Konate is actually also deceptively quick, so maybe they bring Matip in alongside Gomez and go with that. Double City defense versus Crystal Palace. Very confident about that. I think Cancelo will play. Diaz and Cancelo will probably get rotated. Maybe Diaz will probably start when they play West Ham, because I think West Ham will probably put on a decent squad. But I can see Zinchenko coming in. Walker will probably just play because Walker just always seems to play. Ake and Stones will probably play at centre back with Stefan coming in goal. We'll probably see De Bruyne probably from the start a little bit, maybe a little bit more Gundogan, maybe a little bit more Raheem Sterling if he's back fit as well. So they could have some rotation there, because City are good enough to play their second team and still beat West Ham, although they could put up a good fight as they did versus United in the round before. Then we have some flags. We got a trio of flags here. We got Rafinha, Mbeumo, and Lukaku. So Rafinha, he posted something on Instagram saying, I'll be back soon. So whether that means he's back this coming game week versus Norwich away, that'd be kind of great if we could get that news from Bielsa. Usually he's pretty straightforward, to be honest, when it comes to kind of just saying news. He would just say, this person's out, this person's in, this person's out. That's kind of it, basically. So hopefully he says that. So we'll hang on to him as long as we can. And Mbeumo, he looked like he came off with a knock as well, which was confirmed by Thomas Frank. Would like him to play versus Burnley. I think he's probably the best player that we could play out of the available 4 other potential midfielders or attackers that we have. I would not like to make a transfer on him because we have no money in the bank, so we'd then be wasting 2 transfers to deal with a very cheap midfielder if we had to go that route. Lukaku as well. Again, we have a lot of problems with our forwards. So St. Maximin hasn't done anything, and we only wanted him for 2 game weeks anyway. He's probably going to make way, and then Lukaku making way as well. That's 2 transfers right there. So hopefully Rafinha and Mbeumo are fine. Jimenez, I like him versus Everton at home. Everton conceded 5 to Watford, so maybe the 1-1 prediction looks a bit naive. So we'll have to see on that front. But that's kind of how it stands as of now. Smith Rowe first sub on the bench to come in, then St. Maximin, then Brownhill in that order. In terms of the watch list, because we should be updating that, players that we want to add to it, let's take a look. So nobody from Arsenal, Aston Villa, no. Brentford, I'm going to add Rico Henry because I thought he was quite good. 1.2% owned as well. So he could be a nice differential pick there as well. I think did we have him as our differential? Oh, I didn't. I'm not even sure if I talked about him. But Rico Henry, 1.2% owned, is one of our differential picks. I had him on the notepad, as you can see. I'm not sure if I talked about him, but yeah, 1.2% owned, very good. So put him on the watch list as well. Brighton, probably not. Burnley, however, there is a nice midfielder in Cornet who got himself a brace. 0.2% owned and could be quite good. Burnley's fixtures are actually not too bad, so we're going to put him on the watch list. A potential cheaper midfield option. Maybe look at him versus Brentford and Chelsea and then see if we can bring him in for this run here and see how they do. Burnley needs to show me a little bit more, though. Any comment on Havertz, the stick or twist? I would say wait for the news, see what happens midweek, and then go from there. I think Havertz, you can kind of stick with him for at least this coming game week for sure. Chelsea, don't really need to pay attention to them. Palace, I think with Palace, Edward is someone we already have on our watch list as well. Gallagher is starting to pop up again. He's still on our watch list. I think Elise could be someone that we need to keep an eye on. So we'll add him as well because he's playing usually in the right side of our front three. So we'll keep an eye on him. Everton, don't need to look at anyone there. Leeds, no. Leicester, we'll keep an eye on Yuri Tielemans. And we'll also keep an eye on Patson Daka as well as Iheanacho. Because if one of these guys is injured and we have the other two available, it could be quite easy because Leicester's fixtures are actually pretty, they're okay. Would you say it's more essential to get the best pool trio versus City and Chelsea as they are more nailed? Possibly. I think it's potential that maybe over this run of like really good fixtures for Liverpool, we just go Mane and Salah. To be honest, Salah's almost 70% owned in the game. That's mental. Speaking of Liverpool, I think that Mane has to be on the watch list. We already have him there. Good. And yeah, I think we should be fine there. Man City, Phil Foden, I believe we already have on the watch list. De Bruyne we have on the watch list as well. Salah, TA, and probably Mane. Which would mean dropping Lukaku. But if Lukaku's injured, Ronaldo's not performing, Kane looks kind of lost out there, why not just spend our money on Mane? Maybe. That's maybe what we go for. Because Mane's had his rest now as well. So, yeah. Man United, we ain't going anywhere near Man United at the moment. Newcastle, no. Norwich, no. Southampton, we've got Broja and Livramento on there. Spurs, we still have to keep an eye on. Watford, not really anyone from Watford I'm very interested in. West Ham, no. Wolves, do we have Hwang on there? Yeah, we'll put Hwang on there just because when he plays with Jimenez, he looks like he could be quite good. So, big bucks Mane, but probably more nailed than Jota. Yeah, definitely. But I mean, you would just do something like this. Like you would just get rid of Lukaku. Take out one of your like cheaper midfielders. Let's say it's Smith Rowe as an example. And you would bring in. You would have Mane, and then you would go for like a non-playing forward or a much cheaper forward. Let's say if it was an Ivan Toney, we'll go Brentford, Ivan Toney. Then we need 1.5 million, so we could just downgrade one of our Chelsea defenders when the fixtures change. I'm not saying get Mane as like the Brighton fixture. Maybe like game week 12, Arsenal, Southampton, Wolves, that sort of stuff. Because Brighton and West Ham are typically two stingy-ish defenses. Or maybe Van Dijk in defense, maybe Robertson. Who knows? And we kind of just keep an eye on that. Yeah. So let's take a look at the watch list. Do we need to remove anyone? I think the goalkeeper's fine. I think Alonso has well and truly lost his place, so I think he is going to get removed. I think Azpilicueta was just a rest. Tierney, he's just, this is the first game he's missed this season, so we'll keep him on there for now. Maybe it's just a bit of a knock. Son's on there, Mane, Tielemans, Gallagher, Foden, Grealish, Saka. I think all of those are fine. I think Newcastle, Wilson continues to score, and maybe he's the one to go for. Hwang, Firmino, Iheanacho, Kane, Broja. I think Aston Villa, although their fixtures are okay, I just think Watkins and Aston Villa, that with that new system, I'm just not sure if they're clicking right, to be honest. You like Van Dijk versus second Chelsea or City as a rotation risk? I think Van Dijk could be very good as a potential set-piece threat. He would basically fill the same slot as like a Diaz, but he's also 0.5 more. If we can get a constant game time out of Konate as an example, that would be ideal because he's way cheaper. He's 5.1 million. But is Matip and Konate always going to be rotating? That's kind of the issue. If we can get that, then sure, we can go double Liverpool defense. That's definitely something we got to keep an eye on. I like Chilwell, but maybe Rudiger is more nailed. But then I thought Aspie was the most, so it's a mess. I hate that gamble, but maybe Chilwell is the best of them all. I think Chilwell, you can't drop him. The guy scored a goal just like every game. He scored 3 goals in 3 games and got 2 clean sheets out of it. He's been doing good, so I don't think he can be dropped genuinely. Reece James has come back, scored as well. So I think both of these two are going to be playing versus Newcastle. So I don't see anything else. I really don't see anything else. I think Azpilicueta will come back in versus Newcastle because I think Sarr and Chalobah will play in midweek again. So we'll see. But I think Aspie comes back in for the Newcastle game. I definitely think the Chelsea defenders are probably the most gambly, as it were, out of all the defenders at the moment. I think City, Cancelo, and Diaz are like nailed. Like Cancelo has played literally every game this season, 90 minutes, hasn't been taken off. Diaz was rotated for 1 game. And I think that was mainly due to the fact that he was just playing a lot of games. Whereas Cancelo didn't. Like, Diaz played in the Euros. Diaz has played a lot of games for Portugal, whereas Cancelo didn't. So Cancelo's probably a bit fresher. So maybe later on maybe in the Christmas period, maybe Cancelo gets rested in a game or 2. So we shall see. But Pep's weakest position, funnily enough, for having spent so much money, is actually fullback. He only has 3 really fullbacks, to be honest, that he can call upon. Like if we look at the defenders here, Cancelo can play both left back and right back. Laporte can play left back, but that kind of means that you're just kind of playing 3 center backs, which would mean if Laporte's playing at left back, that would almost certainly mean that Cancelo or Walker misses out, because I don't think they can play as center back. Walker plays right back. Ake can also play left back, but again, same situation with Laporte. You have to sacrifice one of Walker or Cancelo. Stones can play right back, but not very well. Mendy is suspended by the club for known reasons. Zinchenko can play left back. Again, you have him playing left back. And I'm not sure about these guys. So he spent enough money on defenders. Yeah, he just buys £60 million fullbacks every transfer window, and somehow only has like 3 that he can use. 2 are at right back and 2 are at left back, but one of those is actually a left back and a right back in Cancelo. Like, Cancelo's the best right back at the club. He's also the best left back at the club. And the backups are Walker and Zinchenko. But since Zinchenko's worse than Walker, he plays him at left back. So it's kind of it, really, to be honest. So, yeah. It is a bit interesting on that front. But, yeah, in terms of transfers this week, it all depends on the flags, realistically. If I can keep Rafinha for Norwich, I definitely want to do that. I think Rafinha's going to be a nice mid-price midfielder that we're going to keep in there. Maybe it's potentially we downgrade Lukaku, but in an ideal sense, I would like Lukaku to be fit. Because if Lukaku is fit, I can just originally go with what my plan was gonna be, which was to bring in Tony. With the price changes, obviously Tony means that we're 0.1 short. Or wait. Hold on. What have I done? Reset that. I get rid of St. Maximin. Oh wait, no, I could just go down to Tony. What am I thinking? I was thinking, oh, I have to go down to Tony and I was going to go up to Kane, but I wasn't going to do that. I would just do the one transfer to Ivan Tony and then bank the other transfer again because I don't really need to do anything else. And then going into the game week, I would play Ray in goal. I play Chilwell, James, Trent, Cancelo, Diaz. I would then play Rafinha, Salah, Mbeumo, Tony, and Jimenez. And if Lukaku's injured, then we'll worry about it. But if it looks like he might play, then we'll start him and just put like Tony for a sub or something like that, or Mbeumo for a sub. Or if Mbeumo's injured, then we bench him, and then we play Rafinha and Salah as our 2 midfielders. Or if those 2 are both injured, basically I just need 1 to play. If 1 plays, then it's fine. Because we have our 5 at the back, we have our goalkeeper, which makes 6, we have Salah, which makes 7, we have Jimenez, which makes 8, and we have Tony, which makes 9. So if 1 of them play, then at least I can just play them and then play Smith Rowe, and then it's fine. The only problem would be rotation of like Chelsea fullbacks, which could be a problem. And then I have no one to come in for them. In an ideal circumstance, Mbeumo's fine. Just doesn't play in midweek versus Stoke or whoever they're playing. Hopefully Rafinha's fine because he plays Norwich. And then Lukaku, if he's fine, then he should come straight back in versus Newcastle. Hopefully Tuchel comes out and says, yeah, we like in his press conference for the Newcastle game, we didn't want to risk him versus Southampton in the Carabao Cup, but he comes straight back in. Hopefully that's what he says. If he does say that, that's great. And then we have a bit of a differential on our hands because I think Lukaku's only like 15% owned. Yeah, he's only 15% owned. Yeah, he's been on a dry spell, but he comes straight back in, can bang versus Newcastle. Then he's got Burnley. Then we can ditch him. Any idea why Duffy didn't play? Potential rotation now. I mean, you got the likes of Webster who can come in there. You have Veltman, Lamptey. Like if you just look at all the options, so Brighton play basically with a three center backs, so a back 5 as it were, 2 wing backs, 3 center backs. One of those is Lewis Dunk. He's never not playing because he's the captain. Cucurella is playing at left wing back. He's nailed on. Then it's just pick your right wing back and the 2 other center backs. Well, I think one of those long term is going to be Webster, guaranteed. The other spot is either going to be Veltman, Burn, or Duffy. And then at right wing back, it's either going to be Veltman or Lamptey or Moder or March. So, but if you're gonna get a Brighton defender, Cucurella or Dunk really now. Um, uh, Duffy's been the best center back by far. I mean that's true, but like you're never gonna drop Lewis Dunk because he's captain. Cucurella looks fantastic going forward. And Dan Burn's not great, but that's kind of how it is. Like, there are going to be FPL managers that are going to have both Livramento and Burn on as their potential, bench players. Or not Burn, Duffy and Livramento, sorry. Did I say Duffy? I don't know. But basically, some managers are going to have, like, it would have been probably like Cancelo, Trent, Antonio Rudiger, Duffy, and Livramento as their 5 defenders, and they would have whoever in midfield and attack and in goal. But yeah, it'd be interesting to see if Duffy comes straight back in, because I mean, it's not bad that he missed the City fixture, to be honest. And I think he'd probably be okay to miss the Liverpool fixture, but we shall see. I'm proud of my Irish boys, but yeah, Duffy is always a threat. Yeah, I mean, he's been good from set pieces too. So I think it does add some value. Mind you, Brighton have so many defenders that are 8 meters tall, so it's not like they're going to be lacking in the height department on set pieces. But maybe there's a change for the Liverpool game. Excuse me. Maybe there's a change because I mean they conceded 3 pretty easy goals to City, got back in it with a penalty, and then conceded again. So maybe he comes straight back in. I would jump on Lamptey fast if he's back 90 minutes. Yeah, exactly. If Lamptey's back, then he's going to be the cheap one, for sure. But until he starts a game, don't really need to put him on the watch list. But what price is he right now? 4.4. Yeah, I mean he's going to be insane. These fixtures look to be quite good. If I was going to downgrade a defender, it would probably be to Lamptey if he's available. Game week 11, game week 12. Like if I need to get rid of one of my Chelsea defenders, or I feel that like maybe he's going to be rotated, or like James is going to be rotated or whatever, can drop him down to Lamptey. In 11 versus Newcastle at home. Looks good to me, to be honest. That could be something that we do. I almost hit make transfers. That's not the right button. Almost hit make transfers. But yeah, we'll have to keep an eye on him. He was super back on versus City. Yeah, he was good. I mean, he was good up until his injury. Literally, he just was going past literally everyone. He was Adama Traore, except he was about 5 feet shorter and probably weighed about 50 pounds soaking wet. Whereas Traore is about 8 feet taller and he's about as wide as a bus. So, Lamptey's rapid. What should I do with Armstrong? I think you gotta probably get rid, to be honest. Would I get rid of Armstrong over the likes of maybe like Lukaku or somebody like that? I'd kind of wait and see how your team, how it makes your team. I think Armstrong could potentially come back in alongside Broja potentially. Hwang or Tony. Yeah, if you can go straight to Tony this week, I think that would be good. So let's say the press conferences come out. We hear nothing on Armstrong, and there's a potential, like, there's even a 50-50 chance that Lukaku might even get something like might be on the bench or something like that, I'd probably just go Armstrong to Tony. If you can just go do that, that's what I would do. That's how I would see it personally. But if Lukaku's like definitely out, then do you really want all that money sitting around? But unless you have the funds, you like Kane's not really looking great. Vardy looked like he came off a bit injured. Don't really know where to go, to be honest. On that front, but what can you do? But yeah, I think that's gonna do it for the preview. We'll be back tomorrow as per normal with the captaincy video. We'll have the buy, hold, sell on Wednesday. We'll be doing the tactics talk on Thursday. Wasn't not able to do it on Sunday, but we'll be able to do it on Thursday. We'll have the lineup preview on Friday and the deadline stream as per normal on Saturday. But let's talk about Fantasy Football Scout one more time. So if you haven't heard about Fantasy Football Scout, don't know where you've been. Fantasy Football Scout is a fantastic tool. Make sure to check it out in the About section or in the description below. You will get access to a bunch of different tools, including the Opta stats tables, which are completely customizable, which is fantastic. And you can see all of my tables as well, as they've been made public to all those in the Fantasy Football Scout members area. They usually have a preseason offer as well, so at the end of the season, if you want to cancel the membership and then reactivate it when the preseason comes around, so you get that 20% off, that's also great as well. Just make sure to use the link in the description or the About section, depending on what platform you're on. So make sure to go check it out. It's going to help elevate your FPL game. Now let's move over to the big screen. So yeah, that is going to do it for Game Week 10. Title of the stream, Salah owns Old Trafford. He was pretty good. And I'm just glad that I captained him. So it made at least my fantasy week not terrible. Because if I hadn't captained Salah and he did that, it would have been just a double down on just badness, basically. But yeah, thank you all for watching. Make sure to like, favorite, subscribe, all that good stuff. It's Pilot Flames 226 on all platforms. And until the next one, take care.